Welcome everybody. It's
Live.
we're live. Tuesday night marathon. Round 4. And
There you go.
I'm FIDE Master Paul Whitehead, and with me is International Grandmaster Nick DeFermian, and we are streaming from the chess room. And as you can see above Nick and I, there's that's half the that's Kasparov calling. I had to put him on hold.
It's good. It's good. We have important games we have to see. Eric can wait.
There's about 60 players in the other room. I'm in the chess room office. Behind me is Erica Malikan. She's hidden there. But she's back in San Francisco from New York. Hi, Erica.
Hi.
Erica, how long were you in New York?
About a year?
We had some other mechanics players.
A notification.
No, that was a phone. She was like about to forfeit the game. I've been sitting and waiting for 40 minutes.
I almost got forfeited. Michael Walter says hi, Erica.
Oh, hello.
If Michael, can you hear everybody clearly from where you are? Do I need to adjust any microphones or anything? Okay, good.
All right. Technicals there.
Technicals.
Alameda.
All right, Nick. On board 1 here we have International Master Elliot Winslow slugging it out with Caven Reese, who I think is an A player. I'm not sure. I think Elliot's the only perfect score, though, with 3 and 0.
3 and 0, yes. Yes. So he's in the lead for now.
So let's check it out.
So just a question. I mean, we get players who go back and forth from New York to San Francisco. You know, that, and of course Hans Niemann is there. I think who else of our players were there? And Karen Griffith is now in New York. Erica, you haven't seen Karen, have you?
I haven't, no.
Erica, come sit here, because you're hiding behind me.
Sorry.
I'm pulling a guest here, Erica Malikan.
Special guest.
Special guest.
No, that's special.
Direct from New York.
Yeah, the problem with New York is it was under lockdown, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So Erica said that there wasn't much to report in the way of chess.
No, not much to chess. Are you ready to play? Okay, I have to go be able right now.
Okay, Erica's gonna go beat the tournament director. Bye. Well, that was short and sweet. All right, let's get down to some chess, shall we?
Okay, so Mike Wilder says that Caven is booked up because he's getting lessons from Craig Marr. So they have prepared for Elliot. And I thought, oh yes, that opening looks pretty good.
All right, well, let's see how it, let's play it through here. It's a Nahdorf, of course. Old style, Nick.
Old school, yes.
H4, I played that once, I think.
Ah, yes, the old move. Various. I mean, it's not supposed to get an advantage, but it's a move.
Knight b6. They also, played rook f8 there, or rook g8 or something? I can't remember.
I think knight b6 is the prescribed antidote.
Okay. Black is white is daring black to take on g5.
which opens the H file after HG, and
Right.
certainly white gets the attack compensation for the piece. So better to play like Elliot and leave it back there.
So apparently Walter Brown played knight c5 instead of knight b6.
Yes, but knight b6 is supposed to be better.
It gives control over the d5 square, right?
Yes. So Walter always got a bit of a risky position there with knight c5 move. So
what's with this knight g3? Is that the right move to play knight h5?
yeah, well, you certainly caused some trouble over there. With
And also you can play knight g5 and then you'll have the e4 square. Nice move. And Michael's calling it a novelty.
And it was going to be Michael's novelty.
Instead, it's Caven's novelty.
Well, that's not very good. Your housemate is being hit by your novelty, Michael. That ain't right. But let's see how Wiley Winslow responds. Knight h5 kind of can wreck the king side a little bit, but maybe that's not too bad. He just castles.
And now white could play knight f1, knight e3, knight d5, or he plays knight d5 right away. No, he didn't. He played knight h5.
Okay, because if the bishop retreats, you win the g-pawn. So we're going to get, slightly shattered pawns, but maybe it doesn't matter so much. I like what he's done. He's just focusing on the d5 square.
Yeah, I mean, going back here just 1 second, is knight h5 the right idea, or maybe white could have tried which was my original idea, was to play knight d5 here?
You could.
I guess black sacks the pawn, right? Knight takes d5, e takes d5, and then e4.
That is, yes, probably compensation when you sack that pawn.
All right.
You get your bishop on e5.
Because otherwise, allowing knight e4 looks bad for black, I think.
Yeah, probably. That was certainly the older interpretation.
Okay.
That was 30 or 40 years ago when people started playing this long.
You mean back when I knew something about chess?
Back when you were like a hot opening theorist.
Yeah, right. The hot opening theorist. Okay. And white goes back, bishop e2.
It kind of looks more comfortable for white.
And by the way, I should mention that the players are playing pretty fast, right?
Why not queen e7 now? Maybe you're threatening the h4 pawn. I guess you can't get that pawn to d5 break. Yeah.
Oh, black plays king b8. Okay, let's go down to board 2, shall we?
Nice to have at least one theoretical battle. And it's a good view of the chess room on the webcam.
Yeah.
You see all the players playing there. And as everyone can see, it's a pretty full house.
Okay, this is board 2. Guy Argo versus Adam Stafford.
Guy likes this King's Gambit. Courageous player.
And this is the way Bobby Fischer played it, right?
Yeah, he did once. I wouldn't even bother with that queen h5 H4 check.
Now, Nick, I read somewhere that the computer said that the only move for white to equalize in this position is bishop to e2.
Wow. Yes, they've got some. I think that was the April Fool's joke, wasn't it?
Probably. But I know so little about computers in the opening that I thought it was true.
Yeah, well, it was I think a good joke.
I've played the King's Gambit in offhand games a lot, and I always played knight c3 here, Steinitz's old move.
And if the queen would come out, H4 check would go king to e2.
Yeah. I always thought that was a fun way to play. And then sometimes you play d4 and king d3.
King d3. Well, that's an aggressive king charging out in the middle of the opening.
Anyway.
That would have been some great games, especially in a coffee house.
Yeah. Okay. What about d6? I thought d5 was usually the move here. But
d5, bishop d5, knight f6.
Yeah.
Right, now white gets in knight to f3. Oh,
he plays knight c3. Oh, that looks wrong. Queen h6.
Now white's getting the kind of game you want. I mean, you as a King's Gambit player, wouldn't you be happy with the white side here?
I would. I think black maybe could have played the queen to h5, where it looks like it has a lot more mobility.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe black is okay, but white is going to have some shots. It's a real classic King's Gambit sort of play.
So if pawn to g3, queen h3 check, I guess. Although you could play king g1 there too. Probably not. All right.
That's a thought with pawn to g3. Yes, and this is a really murky type of game.
Murky, I like that. Murky, yeah. Okay, let's go on to board 3, where Christoph Bambou is playing Gaziz Makanov.
Okay, the class game.
Let's go up to the it's a Roy Lopez 4 knights or 4 knights.
Oh, we did the 3 knights variation. So you can go knight takes e5 here. Normally I'd want to do. And after knight takes e5, d4, the fork grip.
And that should be a little better for white, right? Because knight d4 is the standard move here, or bishop to b4, right?
Yeah.
Bishop c5 is a little
risky.
And knight e5 is the move here.
But he just castles, and then you should probably be able to get away with pawn to g6. So does he play? Yes, he plays it. So, all right. And this is...
okay for black.
Yeah, kind of Rui Lopez.
White's trying to get a little bit more here.
All right, knight f5.
Black could probably take that.
Knight f5 is a good move. Yeah, maybe you should take it, but okay, you can at least castle first.
Aggressive play by white.
And bishop g5 with knight to d5 coming, so already black's got a worry.
Okay, so black covers the d5 square.
Yes, okay, that's a good move.
Queen f3. What's the usual idea here?
Queen f3, there may be some knight to e5 or something. You could take the knight on c6 and then queen f3. But then the d5 square is covered if the pawn comes from b7 to c6. So
Still,
looking for shots. Black seems to have it covered for the moment.
all right. Let's move on to board 4, where Akko Hidari is playing Daniel Wang.
And this was a Scotch game, I take it.
Well, actually, it came out of a Sicilian with bishop to b4 there. That's a little bit unusual. That seems like a decent response, taking on c6.
But
But
yes, if you went knight to b5, the idea of pawn to a3, that might be good, though.
yeah. That's more testing than this, I think.
Yeah, this just bails out to probably an even position, but white's got no troubles at all.
I'd be if I was black, I would take with the c pawn, I think.
Yes, and black would probably be a little better if you take it. But then, queen g4, still a sharp position.
Yeah, that's true. That hits the g pawn and the bishop at b4. Okay.
But yes, that's more aggressive to take with the c.
Ooh, I would play maybe knight e7 here for black. Well, maybe he can get away with this. I guess bishop f5 is probably nothing here. White really doesn't. Michael's saying that that this is a position and that queen d4 is the move.
Instead of bishop d3, okay, hitting the
Right.
bishop and the pawn on
Forcing the bishop back to f8, I guess, yeah. Makes sense. Certainly sharper than this. All right, we're getting one of these positions.
and this must be fine for black.
Right, black could also take on c3, but
Yeah, and then play pawn to h6, you could do it, but there's the pin. This is,
if I was black, I would play h6 here and try to go for the two bishops, but I don't really see what white's doing. White's kind of playing mechanically, not really getting much out of the opening here. But still, it's a game.
everything's developed for white, no weaknesses.
Yeah.
You can move your knight to e2 to f4, try to get in pawn to c4. So certainly white's not worse.
Right.
But
Okay.
yes, black should be fine. Could go queen to f6 or something. Ready to trade down.
Yeah. Okay. And on board 5, James Mahudi versus David Askin. Bishop to d3. Does that lose a pawn? To bishop e5, bishop f5, bishop h2 check.
Oh, that would be nice. That's a nice pawn, actually, because you may end up with a knight g4 check later.
What if white takes back on e5?
Bishop e5, pawn e5, bishop takes d3.
Yeah, take the knight. And, yeah.
That sure looks like a pawn.
I think white's messed this up.
Wow. Bishop g3, a mistake, James.
Yeah. In this position, white should play something else like bishop f3 or f4 or something like that.
On to h3, anything, yes.
Yeah, bishop d3 is clearly misguided move.
Yeah.
All right. And
there's an opportunity.
Finally, for on board 1 in the under 1800 section, we have Romeo Barreiro, who has a perfect score. I happen to know that. And he's a good player and a good solid player. He may be one of the oldest players in the tournament as well.
Okay. Now, if Tony's playing, Tony is 86. How old is Romeo?
He might be close to that age. That's right, Tony's playing and he's 86. So Romeo is the man to beat, though, in this tournament, in this section.
3-0.
Yeah, he's 3-0. I think he's the only 3-0. All right, let's run back up to board 1. How are you, Nick? How's the East Bay?
All is well in the East Bay. Nothing very exciting here. No more robberies or lootings of Nordstrom. So
Okay.
calming down for Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right. And look what's happened on board 1. I think we're looking at variations like this.
Wily Winslow getting the pawn to.
So it went like this, and white couldn't seem to resist playing knight d5, which doesn't seem to gel with his other moves somehow.
Yeah,
it doesn't gel with his other moves.
That gives black a plan.
Yeah. This has gone well for black.
Well, yeah, certainly black gets some clear play now. Queen to e4. You want to first hit the queen with rook to e1, rook to e8.
Michael Walder says he loves black. That's definitely looking good for black. The knight's out. Oh, yeah. The bishop is a nice attacking piece. All right, let's move to board 2, where Guy Argo is playing Adam Stafford, and the game has gotten sharper. Let's see what happened here, Nick.
Oh, Adam
Black
just
castled on the queen side.
and just gave up the pawn.
Hey, he's like, if you can sack your F pawn, I can sack, my F pawn.
Fair is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take that pawn.
And black is starting to catch up in development with his last 3 moves. Actually, with his last 4 moves. I was a little worried back here where black only had his queen and a bunch of pawns moved. But he's certainly kept his eye on the ball with all these developing moves here. There's still G3 though.
Yes, G3, but we can go G5.
All right. This is a fun game though for the spectators.
It is. But it's good when you know you have a problem like you're lagging in development. You focus on solving that. So that was good about him.
Okay. Let's roll down to board 3 where Christophe Bamboo is playing Gaziz Makhanov and King H1.
Okay, he wasn't quite sure what to do.
Nick, I've got a king move that I am dying to show you. In fact, I'm going to show it in the class, in the chess cafe. Petrosian plays a king move that seriously I could not... Well, I didn't spend a long time on it, but it's definitely the most mysterious king move I've ever seen. And I've got to show it to you.
Oh, that Petrosian. He was something else.
This is a dangerous position for everybody.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to make a move. Maybe king to h8 by.
There you go. That's an odd symmetry, isn't it?
King if we're playing like the Trojan, let's keep it up.
Right, king h1 followed by king h8.
Which it kind of gets out of checks and things. So.
All right, how about this as an alternative plan? b5, bishop to b3, and then move that knight on c6, either to a5 or to e5. I guess not e5 because of f4, even though that might be possible.
Oh, that makes sense with that knight. Well, wherever you go, a5 or e5, what if we throw in knight to d5?
Then I'll take it with the bishop, right?
Yeah, take with the bishop. I guess I have to take with the bishop, and maybe you can go pawn to c6. Drive me back to the b3 square. So that's a plan for black.
And no, Michael, I'm not talking about that great move against Kasparov. I'm talking about one of the funniest looking king moves. It's right in the open, it's in the middle game, and it's a position like this. And I'll try to find it. I'll definitely find it for the next chess cafe. It's not a spectacular move. It's spectacular in that it's so puzzling.
It's funny what you're famous for. I mean, there's Kasparov, Nepomniachtchi. They love these tactics and things, but the Trojan, these funny little moves that they're mysterious. They've got these long-term ideas, and and they don't threaten anything, at least not for 30 moves.
You know, I made there's two games that Petrosian played where he went on a long king march with his king under attack. And one was against Bobby Fischer, and Petrosian won that game. And the other was against, gosh, I can't remember, but it wasn't a great player, but he was even more spectacular. The king just running completely into the enemy territory and then running back and unscathed. And in both cases, Fischer and the other guy had a queen, a rook, and a bishop attacking the king. And somebody pointed out, I think, that if it had been a queen and a rook and a knight, that the king would not have escaped. But that for some reason the rook and the bishop were duplicating the queen, the action of the queen, and sort of couldn't add any more to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and no doubt Petrosian focused on that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is I can run into the enemy territory because you're only attacking me with a queen, a rook, and a bishop. Funny stuff.
Yes, you know, you characterize him as a positional player, but he really had courage, and he would take risks in a different way than other people would.
And it's not the four queens game. I think it's a game that Petrosian beat him. I think it was the 59 candidates tournament. It was a straightforward, you know, king running into the queen side type of thing.
So Petrosian was not in the 59 candidates.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'm wrong then. He wasn't.
Maybe he was. Maybe he made a lot of draws.
Well, didn't he play the Petrosian system a couple of times? And then I seem to remember Fischer losing to getting both Tall and Fischer played the Tall and Petrosian played the. I don't know. 59 candidates. Somebody look that up for us. The tournament. Maybe Petrosian didn't play in that. 62 he played in. Yeah. You're probably right, Nick.
59 candidates was Paul, Fischer, Harris. I forget if Smyslov.
That was the one that Bronstein couldn't play in because they didn't allow. Oh no, that was the last one that they allowed a lot of Russians in. As many Russians as could squeeze into the candidates tournament, they allowed them. Anyway, King H1, and Gaziz is in a long think. This is an interesting game, actually. A lot of tension here.
And see that, folks, see that. When you play like Petrosian, your opponent gets confused. Gaziz should just quickly go King H8 himself.
And here's Akko Hidari versus Daniel Wang. And this is also shaping up to be an interesting positional struggle here.
Fourth, interesting move indeed.
Yeah, that's a.
But yes, black must be okay.
Sure.
A5, anything.
Okay. A little struggle going on there, and here we have James Mahudi versus David Askin, and it went
just as you said. That's how it went. Let's see, 95. Bishop takes H2 check, and so he's got that extra pawn, but
let's take a look at the tactic again. So black takes on e5. White takes on f5, and bam, that wins a pawn. And now white plays rook h1. That would not occur to me.
Well, knight g4 check and queen h4
Was a threat, yeah.
Yeah, so this at least defends.
But black is definitely better here with the pawn plus and the better position.
Yes. Although I do like that rook h1.
Yeah, that was a cute move.
In the game.
All right, let's take a look at Romeo Barre. Oh, look at c3, Nick.
Pins. Oh, that's pretty good.
Romeo is a good player.
And wow, that's the just white's a little ahead, and you're got pins on the E file, pins on the fourth file.
Hey, Eric Doe 23. This is an in-person FIDE rated USCF and FIDE rated tournament, and you can see above us, above Nick and I, there is a whole. Well, that's only half the room. There's 60 plus people playing in this tournament right now, in person. They're all wearing masks, as you can see too. We have 6 boards, 6 DGT boards. We're showing the top 5 boards in the open section, and in the under 1800 section, we're showing the top board, which is this game that we're looking at right now, where white's just played c3, now black plays bishop g5, and so queen g5, queen e7, or maybe black will take on c3.
Yes, take on c3. That's
And if queen g7, castle on the queen side or something like that.
And then you take back on c3.
What a game is called King Lear? Put the link in the chat, Michael. Yeah. What is King Lear? Is it a chess game?
Is that the Trojan chess game?
Who's playing that game? Is it a Petrosian versus Fischer game? Petrosian Fischer.
Or are you watching a classic game?
And it's from the 59 candidates, Nick. I was right.
You're right, Petrosian was there.
Yeah, I mean, Fischer was 16.
Yes, so that makes him younger than Borussia.
Oh, yeah.
Younger than even Carlsen. So he was the youngest player ever to play a candidates tournament.
And he was very, very good, obviously. But yet Tal was a genius at the time and could not be stopped.
Fischer was not his full self at 16. He was still learning.
Yeah, and boy, what a tournament though. I mean, he played Petrosian 4 games in that tournament, Tal 4 games, Karas 4 games, right? Smyslov.
What a learning experience.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, amazing. Nick, there's something I've been trying to bring up a lot lately, and that's there's a book lying around the club here. It's Karpov, The Complete Games, up to 1974. How many games? 520 something games. So he became a challenger for the world championship, having only played 530, 550 tournament games. Nowadays, I mean, thousands of games are being played. The tournaments are, So anyway, I'm just pointing it out that the players back then were quite strong.
And those games, they were more epic, and they would take a long time. When they had adjournments, they could take 3 days or something. And 2.5 hours each for the first 40 moves. And
end games were tend to because of adjournments. Do you know what Judith showed me today, Nick? Was that game, that end game that Firouzja played with Mamedyarov?
Yeah.
That end game was played between two grandmasters in 1908. This exact same position, Teichmann versus Alapin. Teichmann versus Alapin, and Alapin found the correct defense with Rook F3 and drew the game.
My God.
Isn't that incredible?
In 1908.
In 1908, the exact same position.
You have to have some respect for those old players. Everyone says, well, chess has improved so much, but they knew how to play back then.
They certainly did. Yeah, so much more respect for those old players. And Fischer, I think, knew that. Fischer definitely knew that. Yeah, incredible.
Yes, Fischer used to look at the games of Steinitz even.
Yeah, Steinitz was I played over a whole bunch of Steinitz's games, and the guy was way ahead of his time. I mean, just yeah.
Yeah, they were the originators of so many ideas and techniques. But yes, I was a little embarrassed for Mamedyarov that he didn't draw that ending. That's any grandmaster is supposed to draw that ending, especially if you're a 2800 grandmaster. That's
Well, I mean, it's funny how people like Carlsen and Fischer and now Firouzja also they're lucky too sometimes. Carlsen does the same thing, plays these games out to the last pawn, and
yes.
And then they, Geller or Tamanov or some other grandmaster blunders on the, penultimate move, just about to make a draw, and then oops, right? All the pressure, and then they claim that they were hypnotized. Right.
Well, what's funny, some games they actually reach drawn position and don't quite make it, but other games where it looks like, maybe they've got a draw, but they lose, and then you can't find an error that they, the tiny little advantages that Fischer would get would add up to a winning endgame, and you would ruthlessly push it through. I guess Firouzja, even at a young age, he appreciates endings.
Yeah. It's where the precision lies. It's where it's the area that separates the men from the boys, right? To put it in as old terms. This is another epic battle here. And White's run the A-pawn up the board. That's interesting.
I don't quite know why.
First of all, he He didn't take the pawn at e4, and he played queen b3.
Bishop came to e5, so it didn't get taken.
And now a4.
All right. It's going Black's way. I mean, I could ask Mike Wilder, who loved Black's position before, but I have a feeling he would really like Black's position now still.
Yeah, I mean, you know, White's playing eccentrically. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that's not always a bad thing, but isn't g6 possible to maybe snagging that knight?
The knight would have to retreat to g3.
Yeah, so maybe Black could play pawn e3 here or something, threatening g6.
Oh, that is a sneaky move. Pawn e3, threat of g6, and what do you do? Could go pawn to g3.
But then Black could play g6 and then probably, yeah, I don't know. Wiley Winslow plays more simply.
Yeah, I mean, that knight isn't doing much on h5. So.
Well, now c4 looks, c3 or c4 looks forced.
Oh, because rook e2, then you play your g6 move.
Yeah, yeah.
Bishop to d. But c3 on to g6 snags the knight.
Rook d2, e3, and game over.
Oh, yes.
So this game could finish in one move if White's not careful.
So the only move is pawn to c4.
Right. Keeping the communication to the knight to g3 move. White's in trouble here. Yeah.
Oh, now Mike is saying c4 pawn to b5.
That's Mike Walder for you.
That looks a little risky. A takes b6. I think c4 is forced.
Yeah. Okay. Wiley Winslow on board 1 is winning or close to it, and we have this game on board 2. This is complex for sure. But Black is playing White played h3. That doesn't, I'm not sure that, and then after bishop h5 played bishop e6. This is a rough one, huh, Nick?
Yeah.
King b8, king g8, king g1. How about those two moves? Black gets out of the pin, and then White plays king g1.
Yeah, I like these king moves.
Yeah, this is the king move TNM. Look, they're following our advice.
Good.
All right. But here, Black played rook b8.
Mysterious rook move, but we prefer the mysterious king move.
Okay, let's move on here. Both players are in Sitzwong, and we've got to move on to board 4, where after pawn to b4, Black has played rook fe8. And so the players are kind of slowing it down here.
Yeah, rook fe8 is a nice, calm move. Pawn to b5, you'll go pawn to c5 probably.
And knight a4 can be met by a5, probably, pretty strongly.
Yeah.
Knight b6 then. Yeah, so what? Rook a7. Okay.
Yeah. Knight A4, also rook on E to B. Eight.
A4 to play B5. Yeah. Maybe White's got a little pull here, I would say.
I'm not sure. A4, King F8, B5, C5.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's sharp.
It's sharp. How about White playing, F4 and G4, F4, G6, G4, trying to force things a little bit. I don't know if F5 is a good move for White. Maybe not.
Okay, I think we'll just let him play.
Yeah. White plays bishop e1 after knight e4. Black is clearly in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, there's no knockout punch yet, but it's
And White's still thinking, maybe this didn't work out so well for White.
grab the pawn.
Might as well take your pawn back. Castles queenside, and then retreat the queen again to g3.
Yes, and say, okay, pawns are even.
Yeah, okay. Okay, this is simple.
Now let's see, he must have a plan. So you go pawn g6, knight to g3.
If you take it and take on a5, then White can play queen d6. Oh, maybe he plays e3 after knight g3? No.
The knight comes to 4. Well, you.
How about taking on g3 and then playing knight e5? Then king.
Yeah, but
Then king b1.
king b1. I mean, I would have waited on g6. I mean, but let's see. Does he have an idea? Knight g3. Yeah, that's because that loosens up your kingside pawns when you do that g6. So it's still better, but.
Yeah, I would have kept it as a threat, I think.
If you do queen c5 here.
All right, so he's just doing what I was. He's keeping it simple. Queen g3 and then knight e5, threatening the two pawns, one on c4 and one on a5.
Okay.
So maybe that's just the idea, is just to win a pawn.
Although the queen can come back. Oh, if it comes back to c3, you win a pawn.
Yeah.
I guess you get a pawn up rook ending, but.
When you're a professional like Elliot, this is what you want to do. Just.
I mean, all right, good enough to be a lot better. But,
Nick, I'm gonna take 3 minutes and I'll be right back. Can you
Okay.
You want to move on to the next game, or should I leave? Leave you with this?
let's move to the King's Gambit, because this looks fairly good for Mr. Winslow.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, so Guy Argo and Adam Stafford and Crazy King's Gambit. black king does look safe. That's you've tucked it away, far away from the white side. So at least white doesn't have an immediate attack. White does have those nice pawns in the center, e4 and g4, so they control territory over them. And could be that black is just rather restricted here. We keep thinking, let's play king to g1 with the white side, get the king on a safer position. Not sure that's so great. Maybe black plays pawn to g5 and looking to play pawn to g4 after that, which would open up the king side. Any pawn to e5 by white? Oh, that's not going to be good with that black rook on d8. That's looking at that white queen on d3. So pawn to e5, black would get to take the pawn with the knight on e5, bringing the pawn. So what does white want to do? He played king to g1. Maybe it's the best move. Alternatively, he could go pawn to b4, pawn to b5, trying to open up lines against black king. So Mike wants knight to f8, but bishop back to b3, maybe, and maybe then pawn to g5, looking to get in pawn to g4. Yeah. Don't see the sacrifice. Knight takes g5, queen takes g5, bishop f4. That's piece for 2 pawns, but doesn't look like it's enough compensation.
Paul will be right back.
Okay. We did play pawn to g5 right away is good. That's yeah, knight g5, queen g5, bishop f4, queen g pawn to e5. Not really going to work for the white side. So white needs to slow down.
I'm back. For better or worse.
H4 here, Mike Walters. That's a real King's Gambit move. Wow. Do we just take it?
Or take on f3 and play queen h4.
Take on f3, h takes g5, hitting the queen.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we're all about the insane moves here.
Yeah, kind of like that h4. One takes h4, knight takes h4. Then
yeah, some long games. We have plenty of chance to sit down here and really chew over these moves, chew over these positions, and get sidetracked and talk about other stuff as well. We've been talking a lot about Petrosian this evening. So, all right, so this is the Tuesday night marathon, a tournament that was started in 1972 by the chess room director at the time, Raymond Conway. We called him Two Gun because he carried a gun around it under his jacket. He would, he had a shoulder holster. He was a prison guard at San Quentin before he became a chess room director. It's kind of a natural flow there.
Yeah, good progression. That's But those days were different, Jeff. With the Zodiac killer running around things.
Right. There was even some rumor that he might have been up here at the club at some point, or somebody that had escaped from San Quentin might have been a member of the chess club or something like that. No, Alcatraz. Escape from Alcatraz, yeah.
Alcatraz closed in something like 1965 or 6.
Well, the chess club was open,
Yes.
Oh, your clothes are a little wet from the swim? Come on in and play a game of chess. It could have happened. I don't know where I saw that. But anyway, so what do you think of this game?
I like this move, F4. That was, it covers the E5 square, so white queen could go to D3.
Black's problem is that if he plays bishop f5, there's no good way after ef5 to prevent knight d5, right? So I'm trying to find a way to, that's why I want to play b5 and after bishop b3 play knight a5. But Black doesn't seem to have caught on to this idea. Or maybe he did. Sack a pawn with d5.
And what? Oh, so like knight g7 there, wanting to play pawn to e5.
Oh, first bishop f5 and then d5.
Oh.
That's a good idea. Sure. Or it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's any good, but...
Bishop f5, pawn takes f5, d5, maybe bishop to b3, hitting that.
Yeah, I looked at that too.
Probably good for the white side.
d4 and then knight g5, bishop e7. Probably, yeah, like you said, probably good for white. All right.
Well, bishop gets back to e7. That is good.
Okay, here's Akko Hidari versus Daniel Wang. And this game is still going on.
Still going. Yeah, I would have brought the black king closer in just in case there's action on the queen side. And the pawn gets rolling there. That black king would get to d6, then it's supposed to helping on the queen side. But it's still just about equal.
Okay, let's move on to this game where Black checked with the queen and White played back and then decided that he wanted to get things over with quickly, or try to, and played f4.
Opening lines. Okay. That's very principled play. Trade off that double pawn. And then very aggressive, hitting the rook. And, does that win another pawn? Because e3 cannot be guarded. So, dire straits there.
Yeah, white's kind of lost a thread here.
Yeah, take that pawn on e3, 2 pawns up, that d pawn's isolated.
Black's having it all his own way.
Yeah, nicely played by
David Askin.
Mahudi.
And
Oh, yeah,
Nick,
sorry, David has the black side.
and it looks like white did exactly what we thought in Barreiro versus Parsons. Aggressive move, f5.
Yes, all those black pawns are advanced, but looks like the white king is a bit safer. Okay, so Elliot Winslow just grabbed a pawn.
Mm-hmm.
And
After 95, white played king b1, as there was no way to save the pawn. The pawn on a5 or the pawn on c4. Queen a5. Do you think king b1 is the right move? It looks...
yeah, it's maybe I would have tried for an ending. This is
How would you have tried for an ending? Queen c3.
But maybe they takes on c4 and
The old rook and pawn, all rook and pawn endings are drawn.
yeah, it's not a nice one, but it's a rook and pawn ending, only a pawn down.
Right.
That knight on e5 is a nice piece, and you grab that a5 pawn.
Got it. Black is much better, of course. I think this was a nice pragmatic decision by Winslow, in a way.
Yeah.
Although, maybe white can play queen f4 here? Attacking e4 and h6. Time to go pawn snatching.
Yeah, queen f4, a nice greedy move. I like it. And the white king is relatively safe. So right now, though, it's black's move.
That's right. It is black's move. All right. White's already in time trouble, in a sense.
He did pawn to h4. Did the Michael Walder move, which I think that is good. They're hitting those squares before black has time to consolidate. Pawn takes h4, knight takes h4, the f4 pawn is coming.
Yeah. Exciting.
On to g4, knight to g5.
Is a can of worms. Actually, the f4 pawn hanging. That's a good move. King's Gambit move, right?
Yeah, a real King's Gambit here. Pawn g4, knight to g5, bishop to g6. Bishop takes f4, queen takes h4. Should be a bit better for white.
On g4, Michael Walder says bishop takes f4.
Oh, really?
I guess queen
Queen
F,
takes F4.
knight G5.
F5, and our queen is trapped. And telling you we have no slimy way out.
Amazing.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that's a queen trap or queen for bishop and rook. I guess pawn takes h4 is forced, knight takes h4, f4 pawn hanging. Knight to g4. Oh. But once white takes that f4 pawn, king will be a lot safer too.
Gallardo plays some enterprising chess.
Thinks he's David Bronstein, and maybe he's right.
All right, let's move on. Certain players are taking are taking a long time over their moves. It's funny how black is sort of in a bit of trouble in this. Where did he go wrong? Can we backtrack, Nick, a little bit?
Yeah, well, he moved the bishop a couple of times.
Okay. So we thought black was doing all right here.
Could be, yes. But
this knight f5 move has really confounded us. Maybe black should just start trading some pieces here. Is it possible the castles gets him into trouble?
Well, I mean, not too much choice. You're going to have to castle.
Well, you could have taken that knight right away.
And probably your castle afterwards.
Well, maybe exchange a piece, like take on f5 and then play knight e7 and try to trade another piece.
You'll be pinned. 97's not legal.
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? The bishop's moved. Yeah. Okay. Wake up and smell the coffee, Paul. Here it is.
Castles, bishop g5, and yeah, that's a bit annoying.
So Michael's saying d6 was a little, in this position, may not have been the right move.
You had castled instead, bishop c6. Take c6, knight take 5. Maybe you could go bishop g4, knight back to f2, trade on c2, take on e4. Yeah. So d6 is a little passive.
Rook b8, I don't understand rook b8.
Yes, now that move's a bit slow.
That's definitely too slow.
You would suggest other things like b5.
Yeah.
There's
And black's still thinking. Okay. White avoids the exchange of rooks and plays rook a1.
yeah, okay. If that white knight can come to d4,
Okay.
maybe a little edge for white.
Black has no reason, I think, not to take that pawn.
Yeah, just grab it.
Bishop d2, rook g3, maybe.
Bishop d2. Could we also go knight f3 check? Pawn takes f3, queen g3 check.
Yeah.
Start the mop up.
White's
Bishop d2, knight f3 check, king f2.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
But it doesn't look like it should work for white.
You can play rook d3, right? Attacking the bishop at d2.
That looks good, yeah.
This game is turning into a black rout at this point. He plays bishop f2. On that now he's just 2 pawns down without any compensation that I can see.
Yeah.
Back on board 1, that attacks a7, and now that threatens knight f5. And now that threatens queen takes a7. White's living with threats here. That stops it, and white plays a4. Both players are attacking. Queen f3 attacks the pawn on d5. Black defends it with knight c5. Ooh, why go back? Maybe it was time to play a5. I don't know. I guess e4 was strong.
Oh, something strange about that queen e2.
Yeah, because black can play e4 now.
Why not? Yes, that's...
Was it time to play g4 maybe? Or, yeah, d4 looks like. Or then e4. I don't know.
Queen h3.
How about a5? Just play a5 here. Maybe.
Yeah, e5. Might play a6.
Knight to a6?
Sorry, pawn to a5, pawn to a6, knight to where?
Oh, I see. Well, maybe white's in some difficulty here. What do you think?
I would put the queen maybe on h3. Or just, is pawn to e4 the end of the world?
Maybe not.
Because your knight would have the d4 square after that.
Of course, the black knight gets a d3 square.
Yeah, black has a good square too, but put your rook on b1, look for some attack on
Yep.
pawn to a5.
But queen e2 slows it down too much, I think. Now e4 is even stronger.
Then looks like black is starting to get some clear threats.
Okay, back up to board 1. Elliot plays queen c5. But what about queen f4 again? The move that I want to play.
I don't know quite why he did queen c5.
You know, Elliot has a tendency to get kind of lost in the middle game. Have you noticed that, Nick?
Yes, but I mean, okay, he's can go queen to f4, knight to d3. I guess the d6 pawn is guarded, so bishop takes d3, pawn takes d3, and rook e2 is in the works.
Okay, I'll buy it.
Okay, so Mike sees a lot of threats here for black.
I'm not sure how to proceed with black here. That's why I never played the Nahdorf. These positions just confound me.
Or you could just play rook to f8, which stops the rook invasion, stops queen to f4.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Michael Walder likes it too.
Terribly threatening, but it's a good, safe positional move.
Let's move on to board 2, where Guy Argo and Adam Stafford are... Okay, so this is a good time for black to make a long think. H4 is a good move. And
yeah, great move.
all right. Rolling down to board 3. Black played d5 after taking on f5, just like...
Mike could be playing these games simultaneously. So we were thinking bishop to b3, pawn to d4, knight to d5, bishop to e7. And
that was one idea.
At least black is solid. Knight takes e7 check, queen takes e7. Those black knights have good squares. You don't usually like to give up 2 knights, bishops, but that's, I think, definitely the best choice in the position. What's the alternative?
Take on f6 and play queen d5. I don't suspect that's going to get me much of an advantage, but
it does threaten knight to e4, threatens the bishop on c5. So it's got point. It's greedy.
Did somebody ever write a book called Caveman Chess?
They should.
Remember all those colorful characters of our youth? The players that would bang pieces down and stare you in the eye and then screw the piece onto the square and stuff like that. Did you ever know people like that?
Oh, yes. Somehow that was acceptable then, but not really acceptable now. So people just don't do it. We'll get reprimanded by the tournament director.
Right.
Abel will come there and tell you to be nice. You know, Paul, I think your plan is the best. Take on f6 and queen takes e5.
I mean, it's so direct, and just maybe white doesn't have anything fancy here.
It's one extra double pawn.
Okay. Let's take a look at Akko Hidari versus Daniel Wang, still going on. The players are about even on time with an hour each. And this game, black's just retreated the rook to e6. And there's not much more to say here. It does seem to allow white to play d5 maybe.
Probably the best move.
Yeah.
So the bishop has some life.
It gives life to the bishop.
But you trade twice on d5. The queen takes, the other rook comes to d8. Black has everything out.
Yeah. And finally, black did play e4. And seems to have just been a little bit more focused than white here in this game. The central attack is more important than white's wing attack over there.
So white needs to react. I think you have to go pawn takes c4, pawn takes c4, knight back to d4, trying to shut some things down on the key side.
Yeah.
And also gives you some plan of pawn to
F3.
a5. Oh yeah, maybe pawn f3 or maybe pawn a5 with
Yeah.
lone attack.
Michael Walder is saying F3 in this position. That's a unique idea. Or maybe he's talking about for black.
Pawn to f3 for white. Knight takes d3.
Yeah, that just hits the rook on e1. So
Okay, then rook to b1, rook e to b1, looking for an attack. Do it.
see, what Nick and I specialize in is taking your moves out of context.
Yes. Oh, okay. Mike wants to play d takes c4, d takes knight d4, f3. Okay. Various moves. One's queen to b5, but
Okay, it's interesting. That's why we're going to move on to another.
okay. Rook f8, rook f4. So far, good defense there from Caven.
So Caven's being coached by Craig Marr.
Well, he got a good opening to start with.
Did you ever play Craig Marr?
Oh, I'm sure I did. I don't quite remember what happened, but back
Right.
30 years ago. So yes, he was quite a good player, senior master.
He and I played before he got to his better. So I had the ascendancy over him, if I may be allowed to boast. So.
But okay, should be good. Oh, hold it. Rook takes c4 is kind of a threat.
Okay, how about this, Nick? G5 for black.
Okay, you like that? Let's say you take on g5 and play rook to e4.
Yeah, that's true. You can also take on f8 and then take on g5, maybe. I want you to play queen takes g5 and then I play queen e3.
And pin.
Yeah. Well, it's cheap. It's cheap and attacks the bishop as well.
Okay, good night, Mike. Thanks for all the comments. You're off to dinner. It's,
They should come for the weekend. Like,
Okay, are you gonna play Mike for the in the weekend tournament? No. I think Mike's already gone. I should have asked him before then, but we can ask Elliot.
the Gobbler Open.
The Gobbler Open at the Mechanics.
First ever Thanksgiving tournament at Mechanics.
They're raffling off some of signed copies of John Donaldson's book. We're raffling off in different ways. each day there'll be a copy of his book available to a chess player in the tournament. I should get the book. Hold on, Nick. It's behind me on the bookcase. Here it is, everybody.
That's a heavy book.
Bobby
600
Fischerman is it's quite thick, as you can see. 644 pages. No, wait a minute. I think there was a couple I missed back there. Yeah. And 3 copies. It's an amazing book, actually. There's not. It's a labor of love. And I think there's maybe a few more of these books coming out.
Well, they take some years to be written.
Oh my gosh. It's incredible.
So that is everything you wanted to know about Bobby Fischer.
Yeah. And the colorful characters that surrounded him. So, all right, let's take a look at board 2 here. Okay, let's see how so after h4.
Oh, he did not take on h4. Pawn takes h4. The knight did not capture on h4.
I wonder why not.
Oh, that is a. I mean, he sees he's going to win the f4 pawn.
Can black move the knight to some neutral square like e8 and then try to take attacking 2 pieces? I guess white could play bishop d7.
But at least you have to give up the bishop there. So maybe knight e8's a good move. I don't know if knight g4 is a better square.
Right. Well, I'm trying to take the sting out of bishop takes f4 too, right?
Yes. Yes. No, knight h2 is a little bit funny.
Okay.
Well, if knight h4, knight d8, looks like you probably have to take on f7.
On g7?
Take on d7 and then take on f4. But at least your knight would get that wonderful f5 square.
Unless black takes it, right? Knight e8, bishop d7, queen h4, or bishop h4.
That's true.
And bishop h4 threatens bishop g3, or does it because white has queen g3?
Well, also you're going to just take on f4 after.
Right. Then bishop g5. Oh, then, yeah, bishop g5. Maybe fizzle out.
Probably fizzles out. The white bishop can come back to h3 for...
Instead, we've got knight h2.
Okay.
And black decides to get out of the way of the bishop f4 move by playing back to g7.
I kind of like your move, knight on f6 move, discovered attack on the e6 bishop. Oh, okay, looks kind of nice.
I mean, if you play the King's Gambit, maybe you just get used to weird moves like knight h2, right? It's like... This is a funny game. And it's hard to tell. I mean, it's a confusing game for both players, I think. But white might be getting something here.
Yes, that bishop can go back to h3, helping guard the king's head.
And black has to play something like knight h5 and knight g3 to get something going here. But I don't know. This is one of those positions where a bolt from the blue will take out one player or the other. The old proverbial bolt from the blue.
Maybe black should go knight to f8, bishop h3, knight to g6.
There you go.
Get more pieces on the king side.
Right. it's as though he's listening to the broadcast.
Well, before you were predicting all the moves. That was really good.
I don't know. Okay. Board 3. This has come to pass, Nick.
Okay, your same move with the queen takes d5, but the bishop just tucks itself away on a7, so knight e4 is not going to harm it. You want to play knight e4 anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
Yeah,
I think black needs to try to trade queens or something.
yeah, because if knight e4, queen takes b2, pawn to f6 may start to cause trouble.
Yeah. With queen g5 being the main threat there.
Yeah.
So if white plays energetically here with knight e4, he can maybe still expect an advantage.
Yes, indeed, because if that black queen would retreat to d8, you can go bishop takes c6.
Queen d4, also bishop c6 maybe.
Yes, and just
Trade things and be a
better
pawn up.
pawns and an extra kingside pawn, even though it's double.
Yeah, this is looking good for white. Oh, this game has definitely made some progress, Nick. Black played d4, radically changing the game.
Okay. Knight d4, knight to b4 seems fine
For black?
rook b1, rook to b8. Pawn to 5 here. What do we do? Yes, maybe pawn to b5 is the best move. Don't know if you want to go pawn to c5. Fine.
A5 is dangerous.
b5 maybe, although those pawns are kind of stopped. b5, c5, a5, rook to b8. Go pawn to b6, pawn takes pawn, pawn to a6. Not sure that
Yeah.
a pawn gets through. So, yeah, looks like, fair counterplay for black.
Okay. And again, a very nice position for black, who's 2 pawns ahead.
Yes, and everything just where it should be. Doubled rooks, a knight on g5. Oh, okay, now this rook is on
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So he took, and then knight went to d4, and we were looking at f3, but black decides to be a little more, what do you call it, steadier or something.
If pawn f3, I might have just taken it, like g takes f3. So
Right.
there's a checkmate. But yeah, that's a pawn f3, pawn takes f3, knight to f, knight to d3. A sacrifice exchange, queen takes f4. It was complicated. Here, I may get greedy again and go queen takes h5. Just because then the queen can maybe help out queen to f5 or something.
Yeah, and F3, it takes a lot of the sting out of F3.
Yes, if f3, you can go g3, and doesn't look like there's a mate over there.
Can he switch over to the H file then? Rook H8, Queen F5.
Queen h6, on to h3.
Oh, White's got Queen E5 check too. It's getting messy.
Yeah, I would be greedy and grab that pawn. Oh, queen takes h5, maybe rook to 5. Queen h7.
Getting in deeper.
It's still messy. But it's hard to just sit there on the white side. So you have to do something, a very risky position.
I think I'm going to have a Mandarin.
Mandarin, okay,
That'll wake me up.
wake you up, give you energy for ideas.
This game has
Winslow.
really gotten wild now. Rook F4. Winslow lashes out with B5.
Which I don't know. Now the white thing looks safer than the black thing.
And White switches over to Rook E5, which contains the possibility of playing Rook takes E5 as well. This has just gone south.
Okay, pawn takes c4. I think having said A, you have to say B, as Russians used to say.
And then maybe Rook E5, or is that too soon?
That looks too soon. That's
Keep it on the burner on the play Bishop C4.
yes. Pawn takes c4. Why not just bishop takes c4?
Elliot takes the positional route with B4.
Okay. Suppose that's safer.
So this is what Elliot's been doing all along, is playing this. He's been consistent in his strategy. Whether his individual moves added up, we're not sure. But he took the pawn. He felt he had to. He returned the pawn when he had to, and now he's keeping the position locked up when he had to.
Well, this is much safer. At least keeps the black king safe. Now the exchange sacrifice doesn't look that threatening. You can play pawn to a5, and the black king might even come up to b6 and be safe.
So what's White to do?
Yes, at least the white pieces can't get into play so easily. Doesn't want to trade to an endgame. Queen e3, that endgame's better for black. Yeah, that was a nice move, pawn to b4. Doesn't really want to trade rooks on f1.
So what happens if you take on e5 and then play queen g6?
Oh, e5, pawn takes e5, take the pawn on g6. Aha.
With the idea
Okay.
of swinging over to a6, maybe. I don't know.
Say we tried to get active with rook to f2.
Yeah. I was afraid you were going to say that.
That's probably good for black, because that on the f file would be nice. And I suppose that's the plan anyway, rook to f2, maybe double rooks on the f file. So David probably needs to go rook f4 to hold the black side out.
I think it's very interesting how by eliminating the exchange sacrifice, you're sort of forced to look around as to how to solve the problem here. And rook f4 may be just the move that does it. Just in time to be able to try to trade on the f file. And maybe both rooks white would like to. I don't know. I mean, white's still going to be have some issues.
Yeah. You do rook to f4 onto a4, double rooks on the f line for white, trade on f4, queen takes f4.
And then pawn h5 for black or pawn a4.
Yes, it's not, but it's not clear at all.
No. All right, let's see what happens. On board 2, Guy Argo, after knight f8, he played bishop back to h3. The knight went to g6, and the bishop just simply retreated back to e3. Black played rook g8. That's perfectly understandable, I think.
Yes.
And rook f5.
F5. So what is happening here? Nice move, rook to f5.
Yeah, I can see that rook almost swinging over to the queen side. It kind of paralyzes black.
Yes. That was a fine move. That bishop on h5 is attacked. What are you going to do about it?
I think going back, I think black might have tried to move the bishop on h5 and play knight f6 to h5 to g3 or something.
Yes, he did. He didn't get the right setup, but white setup is good. That's
It's the knight at h2, Nick. It anchors everything.
Yes, quite a move from Guy. Knight to h2.
And the pawn at h4 is working against black, not allowing black to play knight h4.
Well, that is true. That would be a very useful move.
Okay. The time situation is good for black, however.
Yes, plenty of time for black. So,
All right. Black played queen takes b2. Maybe
All right.
feeling desperate. It's possible he was feeling desperate and needed to do this.
so pawn to f6 is the attacking move, and maybe you just have to take it with b takes f6. Ooh. Oh, so risky. full risk. Oh wow! I mean, you could go on to speed.
First of all, white can get maybe a simple advantage by just taking on c6, but f6 looks right.
Yeah, you want to put that pawn to work.
Your queen d4 just seems to lose on the spot, right? Queen g5, that's it.
Yes, Queen G5 is a mega threat to mate. King to H8 just looked very wrong.
And white can always play bishop takes c6 with a nice position anyway. I suppose. Maybe that's not so great, but... The threat is queen g5. What's black going to do? Play h6?
That's a thought. That's a defensive move, but I don't know. Take on g7, then take on c6 or something. Looks like you're on ahead.
Yeah.
King's sides. And
Yeah, I like, for white, I like the fact that he can just take on c6 with a nice game anyway.
yes, pawn takes f6, pawn to c3 looks like, wow, that's an attack because it stops the queen, the knight, and the bishop from using the d4 square. And
Not looking good for Gaziz. Let's go up to Akko, Hidari, and Daniel Wang. And nothing much seems to have happened here, in a sense.
they really traded pawns, traded rooks, so it's a very even game at this point.
Yeah, so it went like this. This looks level to me, if the players are careful.
Yeah, looks very level.
If the players are careful. Okay. It's been an interest. Yeah, okay.
Robert Swall says it's nice to see the live feed from the playing hall.
Thank you. Yeah, we want to get our viewership back up. The players are returning to the mechanics in droves, and we're happy to see everybody.
We're almost leading the way of getting back to normal.
And Black is clearly close to winning this. Oh, he's winning it, but it's not over yet. And this game, white went ahead and took the pawn, Nick. And the black rook went up to g5, and the white queen went all the way back to d3.
Oh, I find that a little passive.
But what else could he have played?
Oh, could he have gone queen to h7?
And if rook h8, knight c6 check.
Rook h8, knight c6, but yes.
Yeah, he might have overlooked that. So the queen, instead he brings the queen back to d1, which is passive, but it does threaten knight c6 check.
Yeah, okay. And did f3 happen? And so
no, black played rook d7 instead of rook over to g8.
Ah, okay.
And white plowed ahead with a5.
But yeah, is that too slow?
f3 comes. G3.
We probably have to go G3, but wow, is this? Oh,
Queen H6, right?
what? H6 with just the mega threat of Queen H6. You can't play knight F3.
Right.
No.
This is white. White, yeah, he plays it.
Yeah.
And for the folks back home, King H1, Queen H3, Rook G1, Queen takes H2 check.
A lot of
The
mating combinations.
standard mating continuation.
No, I think it's so desperate. You may have to go Rook takes E4, Knight takes E4, Queen takes F3.
There you go, Nick. With 3 pawns for the rook, and you live to fight another day.
And then you also get in A takes B6.
Right, and you're having fun, right?
Hopefully. But it's, yeah, maybe something there.
Well, we'll find out. Desperation might be the just the thing that white needs there. And let's see how this game went.
Oh, he did do the sacrifice as you.
And took on G6.
Okay.
And the wily Winslow comes in with Rook F2.
And we've discussed this, and we thought, oh, that doesn't look like enough play for the exchange.
Queen E4.
Okay, Queen E4. That's.
I don't know. He must be thinking of that or something else. Maybe bishop to D3. Oh, but then black's going to play Queen D4. Threatening mate on B2. But then Queen D6. Yeah.
Queen E4 looks best at some, and we could consider the end game after Queen to D4, Queen to D4, pawn to D4. But wow, those black those white pawns could become extremely strong. It's messy.
King A7 after Queen E4? Oh, then Queen takes E5, maybe.
Also, how is this line Queen to E4, pawn 3?
Pawn to B3?
The idea of Queen to A5. We do Queen E5 check, King to A8, C3 to get that. Maybe Rook C3 immediately to get that 3 pawn. Now, pawn to Queen E4, B3, Rook C3 just makes trouble for black. I really like your Queen E4. Maybe you just slow down and guard the pawn with Rook E8, but that's passive. So,
What's wrong
okay.
with Queen D4? Queen D4 trade bishop to F3 or bishop to D3 or what?
Bishop F3 was the idea. Maybe you can go pawn to.
Uh-oh, White played bishop F3 right away, and that seems to be... Is it a mistake? Queen D4, Queen D6 check, King A7, Queen G7.
Queen D. Yeah, something like Queen to D4, Queen D6 check. Oops. Oh no, C7 to D8 check. And that bishop on F3 uncover check with the tricky move. Don't believe it.
Maybe White has just enough there to wiggle out. Also, Nick, White can just take the pawn at B4 and defend B2.
Oh, yes, so Queen D6, Queen to B6 check and
And just Queen B4.
yes, so that would be very good.
And then E4 could maybe be met by bishop G4. I don't know.
So still very complicated.
Yeah.
Not a bad move. Bishop to F3.
Elliot's better him than me. After rook F5, Black found the amazing knight H8.
I like that. I mean, it does what it needs to do, which is to untangle those pieces over on the king side.
And it's a pale imitation of knight H2. All right.
Knight H2 and Knight H8. We're seeing some great moves over there.
Bishop G5, threatening to take on F6 and take on H5. Black drops the bishop back to G6. This game is making my head spin. Maybe bishop G5 wasn't the move.
Yeah, I'm not sure Black doesn't get some tactics. Knight E4 is going to be...
How about bringing that other rook into the game with rook F1?
And then bishop 6.
Then I'd be feeling good about my game.
Yeah.
Rook AF1.
I like that better.
Then my rook on F5 could swing over to the queen side even, maybe. Who knows?
Just one moment while I'm going to make some tea.
That's fine. So the Tuesday night marathon here in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco. You can see the about half of the playing hall above me and Grandmaster Nick DeFermian. A tournament started in 1972 by Raymond Conway, club director at the time, who started the tournament during the Fisher boom. When the club was suddenly jammed with players all wanting to play chess. That was my first year into the club, 1972, when I was 12. And here we are, almost 50 years later. Actually, next year it'll be I guess we'll have the 50th anniversary of this tournament. we were at well over 100 players consistently before the pandemic, and we're working the numbers back up again. Hans Niemann won this tournament as a kid before he moved to New York. Elliot Winslow, international master. Elliot Winslow is a frequent player and winner of this tournament. I can say I've never won it. I haven't played in too many of them. My last attempt fell short. Just an incredibly popular tournament, one game a week on Tuesday evenings. The tournament has been as long as 12 rounds, and I think we might have experimented with a 7-rounder or even maybe a 6-rounder. But now we're back up to the normal 8 rounds. It's been FIDE rated for many years now. That was a tradition started by John Donaldson. And this tournament will never die. It's the way it seems to be. And we are providing live coverage of the top 5 boards in the open section and the bottom and the top board in the under 1800 section. And amazingly, this game seems to have finished with black having overlooked the threat of Queen G5. And this game has abruptly ended, I think. If G6, Queen H6, black missed after F6, needed to play either pawn H6 or taking on F6. So Nick, black seems to have missed the point here and played Rook D8, allowing Queen G5, and now the clocks have stopped. All I can assume is that black resigned.
That was a very sudden end. Black was, I think, in trouble anyway.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice to see him try to find something.
Okay. Well, White's king looks a little far away. But it might still be okay.
Yeah, in 2 moves, it's on D3.
Maybe black should be sneaky and play something like bishop e6, knight c5, bishop c4, and then king d6, heading straight up to d5.
Although the white king gets to c3 when the black king gets to b5, and there's no way in.
Yeah, you're right.
Probably just a little better for black, and maybe, I don't know if you can get some zugzwang against the knight. But, it's probably should be a draw.
Okay.
It's nice, they're fighting on. And this game has not ended.
No. White's still fighting on here. 2 pawns down, and wow, Nick.
What happened here? Someone lost a queen.
Let's see.
This was a lot of excitement. A5.
He took on b6.
Okay, he probably did not have time for that. Let's see, this should be, oop. Well, yeah, that was, that's, Okay, so then he had to take on f3. Only way to avoid mate on g2. And loses the queen or rook. And yeah, this just is not working. Although what, he plays pawn to h4, he's trying to hold him off because fortunately not going to work. We go rook to e3, try to get in pawn to f3. So you can make it tough.
What if he just sits in this position, Nick, and plays king g2, king g1 or something? When you play knight d3, I'm going to play knight takes e4.
Okay, you have a strategy there. You have to like it. You know, that's pretty neat too. And if Black has the strategy to get the king c4 to b3 all the way down to d2.
And then what?
Still doesn't threaten anything, does it? Okay, you're going for the that is a great plan. And
King g2, king g1. Can the black queen come? I don't want to play f3. I just want to go king g2, king g1.
so we have to make use of that knight somehow.
If you play knight d3, I'm going to play knight e4, which defends f2 in a beautiful way too, right?
Very nice, yes.
But with your king on d1, yeah, if the king's on d2, then I'll be taking on e4 with check. And if the king's on d1, I'll be taking on, yeah. Is it one of those 1 in a million positions?
Oh no, this could work. This could work. You know, those pawns on f2, g3, h4, very nice solid pawn. Oddly, right now white is only down 1 point. Looking 3 pawns for a queen. Usually a queen and knight are so good, they break through, but really hard to see it here.
All right. Back up to board 1. And Elliot plays queen d4, so queen d6 check, king a7.
Interesting, very interesting. Queen d6 check, king a7, queen d7 check.
King
King to
b6.
b6, pawn to c5 check, king to a5, no checks. Rook on c8 is hanging, but mate on b2 is hanging. Oh, nicely done.
And on king a7, queen b4, black has rook b8. And if queen e7, rook b7. Elliot might have this one in the bag here. King a7. What if he goes queen e7, Nick?
Okay, Queen E7.
Oh, he plays
denies,
Rook C7 without even thinking.
But Queen to D8 check.
And then if King B7, D6 check, that's too dangerous.
That's wins for the white.
Yeah.
Queen D8 check. You have to go Rook back to.
Maybe he's just repeating the position to give white a chance to go wrong here.
Yes, Queen takes B4. Well, then Queen takes B4, King A7, Queen to C3.
Well, wait a minute. Can't black play Rook B7 on Queen B4 check?
Yes, you're right. Okay, but he doesn't fall for it.
So black's repeating moves, but they still got a chance to play King A7.
Try King A7. Your Queen to E7 check. Looks like
Or draw anyway.
yeah, it looks like it just holds.
Wow, good result for Caven. This looks like a forced draw.
But you know, if it quickly goes King to A7, maybe David will go Queen D7, thinking Rook has to be defended. Well, quite an upset.
Elliot's not even going to try for that. It's going to be a draw, folks. Elliot's a practical fella.
Yeah.
Queen D4 might have been a good choice.
But, okay. Good result for Caven there.
Yeah.
Still leaves Winslow in the lead.
All right, let's see what happened in this game. White sacked the exchange, Nick. That seems strange to me.
Why? Oh, that just seems wrong.
Yeah, white.
Oh, why?
White's kind of floundering here.
Now all the black pieces are coming where they want to go.
Yeah.
It's gone wrong.
I don't know. I think if I was black, yeah. Well, Adams played a good game here, but Guy went off the rails there, I think, with sacking the exchange.
Yes.
Kind of lost it. He's only got 2 minutes left.
Okay, so he kind of panicked to do an active continuation.
Yeah. He's, this is just going, seems to be going south.
Yes.
He's a
take on D5.
He's a time, likes the time trouble. Let's see how this game, Elliot, there's still, I guess the clocks are still running, so the game is still going on, but this is heading for a draw. Caveman Reese drawing Elliot Winslow, it looks like. Gaziz went down with the ship. Guy Argo is in desperate straits against Adam Stafford. Akko.
Let's see Akko with
Ooh.
his nice palm ending. Ooh.
Daniel got the bishop around to F1. We didn't look at that, I don't think. Nice.
Hopefully I said Aziz's game.
Look,
Zabel is playing, so I forgot to.
this is nice here. Look at this. In order to deal with King D5, White plays what we were looking at, Nick, but he's got Bishop F1. And that
Okay,
picks
so
that picks up a
sags a
pawn, and
pawn.
that's got to be a win for black now.
Yes, I mean, if you can get a passed H pawn. Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Bishop F1. This game is just continues to be lost.
We should be looking for finishing combinations soon.
Yeah. And this game, oh, white did play F3, Nick.
Oh, you had such a great concept. It was such a great concept.
Instead of just going back and forth, he played F3. And now, I mean, I'd rather play black, but this is still going to be tough, huh?
I didn't know why he didn't take with the rook on F3.
Yeah, he needs more
Yes.
coordination. He's losing
Now
coordination. Yeah. Well, this is where we're going to see more, mistakes by players who are not used to playing the end game quite as well as grandmasters.
I think this is that is quite a concept that you have with that blockade, and that you just leave the knight on G5. There's absolutely nothing that the black side could do.
Well, Nick, I'm good at figuring out how to do nothing. Yeah. Back up to board one, and we have a draw. A well-played game by both players, actually. And kudos to Caven, that's quite an upset.
Yes. But, okay, you can't be too harsh on Winslow with the black pieces ahead in the tournament. He didn't lose at least.
And Gallardo is definitely on the ropes here with only 43 seconds left. There is the delay, but that means that as your time ticks down, it's even worse than it is in regular time pressure almost. You know what I mean, Nick?
Yes, because
Because you have time that can never be regained. It's just nerve-wracking.
down to 17 seconds.
Yeah.
But he gained 5 with the move.
All right, let's take a look at this game. And black even plays king d5 first, seeing if white wants to give up the d pawn. This is bad for white.
Yes.
Can we try to pinpoint? Do you mind, Nick, if we try to come back and pinpoint the mistake?
Yeah, it was where he gave up the bishop for the knight.
So maybe he shouldn't play d4 here. Is he losing time? Of course, black is going to play king d6 and c5. So already it's possible that white's in a little bit of trouble here.
Let's see. Yes, he has to do something. For one, if the pawn goes to d4, it's more vulnerable there. So
Right. But on the other hand, if black plays king d6 and c5, it's easy to see that white's going to get into some kind of trouble there with the A
Yes.
pawn, maybe.
Yes, he let the knight take the bishop on.
So what about the king and pawn ending? Knight c5, king d6, knight d7. Of course, on knight c5, black will play bishop f5, maybe. The bishop is good here.
Yeah, but knight c5, he should play knight c5.
All right, well, anyway, this happened, and white's in trouble. Amazing. Maybe not that amazing.
Yes,
Better
it's
king
quite
position.
easy to play with the black side,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. All right. This is Mahudi versus David Askin. Big trouble for white, of course. 2 pawns down, and pieces. Black is better all over the place here.
James has been holding on for the last 10 moves. It's not gotten worse, Lee.
This game is going to be decided by some horrible thing. I have a bad feeling about this game.
Oh yeah, this is good. So when the knight comes to e5.
Yeah, what a great square.
Queen h1 mate.
Yeah, a wonderful square for the knight.
Which game are you guys watching?
Barreiro versus Parsons.
Really low time.
I know. All right, we'll go back up to that. It looks like his clock stopped. He lost his queen. White put his queen in check, and it got taken. That's what happens when you have no time.
Desperately short of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the position was lost anyway.
Right.
But,
Good game by Adam Stafford. I mean, he was under a lot of pressure. He kept his head. His opponent got into time trouble, made an unsound exchange sack, and just kind of lost the thread.
yes.
Bishop h3. And
You won.
yeah, Adam won, yeah. And this is now very difficult position for white. Black is going to can make an outside pass h pawn, and this is indefensible probably.
Yeah, it looks lost.
Yeah.
No counterplay for the
Yeah, I mean, all white can do is hope for a knight fork or something. This game, Askin's game, is just still grinding on. And Barreiro versus Parsons, this game is tilting in black's favor, but still, let's not count white out here yet.
Yeah, it's
Especially considering that the players are not they're playing in the under 1800 section, so there's still some variables.
and that's the top board in the under 18.
Yeah. All right, so we're mostly we have this is board 4. And here we go. I mean, there's the threat, knight f4 check. g5 looks like a good move here. Starting to get the pawns rolling, or maybe you want to bring the bishop back first. Yeah.
e5, knight e5, F5, F6. D5 looks like a nice move.
Tough game for white. Black is moving in for the kill here.
Oh, the 2 knights and 2 rooks. Still don't see it.
It's not mate yet, but
Queen to D2, I guess, and then Queen to F5, maybe. And even another piece in there. Well, yeah, Queen to D2. Yes, you also have Knight to H3 check. One takes H3. Knight takes H3 check. Takes H3. Queen takes H3, and Rook G6 check. Going to end it. So
yeah.
winning combinations in the air now.
White's still thinking here. Back up to, I guess we're at these 3 boards 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, Abel played Erica Malikan. I wonder how that game went, or if they're still playing. They might still be playing. We can see, if you look above there, you can see Judith on the computer there. And there's a couple of other players. Is that Sebi Suarez? I can't quite see the computer. The image is small. It is.
Looks like 7.
Playing, I'm not sure who he's playing, but another promising junior chess player. Black indeed played G5.
Yeah, it's so nice. And put the other pawn on F6, pawn on H5. Run in with the black king. It looks like just a way out.
Daniel, I think he's an expert, I think. So you've got some pretty good technique here available to. White is in serious trouble here.
Okay, rook to F.
It's probably too early to talk about a forced mate, but a forced win, but.
He's giving up the C3 pawn.
He's going to make a last stand.
Probably a good try. It's a shame. It was that great draw that was there. And that was just a solid draw. On to F4.
So F6 here.
F6 is probably good. I was thinking white might try knight to b4 check, and I mean, nothing really works. King to d6, guard the c pawn, pawn to a5. Hangs on for the moment, but it's just two white's positions just moves. That black king is strong.
This might hasten White's demise by weakening the kingside pawns even more, but we'll have to see. White's still thinking here, and Black is still thinking here. We've got, possibly another hour of chess here, and I'm going to take a quick break, Nick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay? Hold the fort.
Well, if somehow white trade the knight,
Do you want me to keep this position?
sure, this one's an
Okay.
interesting.
I have a quick question. Is queen and rook, queen versus rook and knight and h pawn, is that winnable for the black side here? Let's say the knights got traded and the c pawn was lost.
Well, then if white can keep the pawn on g3, gets a draw.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's correct. So the pawn on h4 is superfluous.
Yes.
Okay. So White's trying to trade knights and then getting a draw.
Yes, but black loves to have the knights. Knights and queens work so well together. Maybe black could go for a quick knockout with queen to h1 check. Because h2, queen to f1 check. I'll have to go rook e2, black knight comes into e5, and it'd be quick for the white side. Yeah, or maybe queen h1 check. And if the white king has to run out with king to g4, then knight to e5 check, g5, maybe queen to g1, hitting the rook and hitting the pawn on g3. That's probably better than just taking the c pawn. So fair chance is just taking the c pawn, but queen h1 check. He plays knight e5 first, and again, probably enough. If the king comes to g2, you stop some problems. Knight can come to g4. It's just so hard to defend against the queen and the knight. Knight f3 maybe, but again, doesn't work. Knight f3, queen to h1 check, knight to h2. Not really going to work. White's not got any solid square. Not what hold. And there's no time to rush up the pawn to h5 or something. That just so long to mean we're on h6 instead of h4. It's very dangerous, but not good. And there's no real attack against the black king. Got one check or something. But black is spending more time. That's maybe the one hope that black gets really low on time. You won't be able to find the correct continuation. I think we're going to see some material loss for white just in the next 3-4 moves.
Well, let's move on then. I'm back. And black did indeed play f6, and white chopped it off. And what's left here?
Yeah, it's
Okay, I see a glimmer of hope for white. That the d pawn is exchanged for the c pawn, and that white sacks his knight for a pawn on the king side after the other one gets exchanged, and then black is left with the bishops of wrong color. Rook pawn.
yeah, bishop in the wrong color rook pawn.
But black should probably not let that happen, right?
No, the problem is that 8th pawn is going to become a terror. So I don't think we're going to get to that. And again, the black king can just so easily infiltrate. Try my line, knight to b4 check, king to d6, pawn to a5, just, okay, all pawn to a5 now. That, after pawn to h5, knight b4 check, maybe you actually run in with king to e4. Well, okay, let's try pawn to h5, knight to b4 check, king to d6, holding that c pawn. And the white king moves over, king to d3, pawn to h4, pawn takes h4, king to e3, bishop.
How about this, Nick? What if black plays bishop f1 now? And to sort of make way for the h pawn and to cover the d3 square.
Bishop f1, knight to b4 check.
King d6.
And king to d2.
Oh, king can go to d2. Right.
Actually, maybe bishop d7 is the best move here, so that...
Well, black should be able to finagle a win here.
yes, it's certainly a winning position.
Do you need something?
We're just trying to get some hope for...
And this is just looking pretty bad.
and there you had Mr. Winslow in the back.
Yeah, that was Elliot Winslow, by the way. And I took a peek in there, and Abel is playing Erica Malikan.
Oh, so the game is still going on.
Game's still going on.
A good battle.
Oh no. Wow, Queen H1 almost is Jin.
Yeah, Knight H2. Again, the move we saw from the King's Gambit.
Knight H2 is the theme of the round.
But
So white should
Yeah.
be white's holding this or close to it, huh? Knight d3. My head is spinning.
yes, something will go wrong. Queen h1,
Something will go wrong.
queen h1, knight a2. Maybe it's king to e4, knight to d3 immediately.
Okay, so black has a win here with knight f to h3, g takes h3, knight h3, rook h3, queen h3, with the deadly threat of rook g6 check.
Yeah. And
That's it, folks. That's
That's
all
it.
she wrote.
that's one clear win, but not to be others too.
Right. Okay. We'll take a quick look at this again.
Yes, it's funny. You get real insight into the tournament with these DGT boards. You get to see a lot of the games. The others you sort of hear rumors of, like Abel and Erica Malikan is still playing. You can see that Sebi is still playing.
Right. Sebi is playing, and black is running the pawn up the flagpole. I'm trying to give Judith new colloquial expressions every
That's
time.
always nice.
Every
What
time.
are we looking at? Akko and Daniel?
Yeah.
Who's
So
playing?
I'm saying black is trying to run the H pawn
Yes.
up the flagpole, meaning trying to.
Yeah, I know what it's like. Oh.
So behind me here is Judith Starry. She'd have to move over to
that's
get
fine.
into the camera, but she's
Don't
one of the.
forget to sign up for the Gobbler.
Sign up for the Gobbler tournament here at the Mechanics. It's a 3-day event starting Friday and continuing on through the weekend.
Yes.
What other information we have? We're giving away John
Giving away-
Donaldson's raffling off John Donaldson's book.
Yeah.
Each one copy every day.
And I think Abel came up with some sophisticated method how to raffle
Yeah,
off.
one day it's going to be the winners are going to get a chance at the book. Another day the losers are going to get a chance at the book. And
Yeah.
so
It's gonna
Yeah.
be fun.
they're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. I'm going to be here on Friday, and maybe I'll take a look at some of the players' games afterwards, and so we'll try to talk
Some
about
live
that.
master analysis.
Yeah,
too.
some chess master analysis from Paul Whitehead.
I'll
such
be
as
here
it
in the
is.
morning, Friday morning to do the kids. So I see you on Friday, and then Abel is doing Saturday, and then I'm doing Sunday.
Right. Okay.
So, okay. I'll
Sounds
go.
good.
A few more games left.
All right. Bye for now.
There we have it, the dynamic duo. It was the organizers of the year. Judith was USCF organizers of the year in, was it 2018 or 17? And Abel won it just this last year.
Yeah. Mechanics Institute is. There's a lot of talent here.
Oh, look at this.
He's playing it, Nick. There's a lot of good chess going on as well.
James Mahudi against
David Askin has really played a good game.
David. Has played just about a perfect game. And it was
And
Very
black has finally eliminated the C pawn. And now if white can trade knights, the game is a draw. And avoid losing his rook. But Black has chances here. Thanks
Yeah.
everybody for joining us. This is round 4 of the Tuesday night marathon. We are covering the top 6 boards, actually the top 5 boards in the open section and the top board in the under 1800 section. On the top board, Elliot Winslow drew by repetition in this position against Kevin Reese. This game ended with White in a losing position, blundering his queen in time pressure. This game ended abruptly. White just played queen g5, if g6, queen h6, and it's all over. So we're left with these games still going on. Board 4. Akko, Hidari. Christian Clemens, hi.
Yeah, Christian is saying that David Askin is a great attacking player, and certainly seemed to be the case today. Did we take a look at that? Is that
Well, that's this game here. Yeah.
It's
Finishing it off with a flourish. Rook h3, queen takes h3, and there's no stopping. Rook g6 check. And this game is beyond saving. And finally, on the top board of the under 1800 section, we have a tough little battle here. White is getting into a little bit of trouble here. Better be careful.
he's always got that knight h2 move. But pawn take.
Well,
Why?
White's going to make a new queen, Nick, and I don't know why you can't understand that.
Okay, there is nothing wrong with the new queen. But
So what happens if knight e3, then knight e3 check?
And then, yes, that would be great. Knight e3, knight takes e3 check, and you get a drawn position.
As long as you don't push the g pawn.
But if you go knight to e5, then
So if the pawn is on g4, it's a win. I mean, if it's rook and pawn on g4 versus queen.
yes.
Yeah.
Pawn on g3, you can make a port.
All right. The king can't come around behind.
But okay, it's kind of tough. I like this though. Pawn to h5, just no sitting around. You know, you're not going to let him just have his way. You're going to give him some trouble. Get that pawn to h6, and then they have to worry about it queening.
All right, let's just run quickly up to board 4. This is a disappointing game for Akko, who this game was going pretty level for a long time. But it's a tough one now for White.
Yeah, it's again, try knight to b4 check, and then move the white king over to the king side, and
Plays a6, and now bishop f1.
Bishop f1 bishop f1 is very good. Bishop c8, I was thinking. And then on knight c5, you just push the...
That's probably better, right?
You put the pawn on a light square, same color as the bishop. That's not not good.
It looks to me like bishop f1 or bishop c8 is all game over.
Yes.
Yeah, Christian, you're right. There's no way to save this, and I don't think there was a way to save it anyway before this. Black's been winning for quite some time here.
Yes, but he could have made it tricky without that pawn to ace.
This is now lost for sure. And White is making no bones about it, Nick. He's decided that he's going to make a new queen, and that's it.
I like it. Yeah, just get a result.
If Black could play queen h5 check here, he'd be happy.
Yeah. But okay, that rook on the f file is pretty good. If queen to e8, maybe you just go king to h4.
Okay, knight e4 has been played here. Now h7 can be met by, well, knight take, yeah.
Knight g5 check if not. No.
Or knight f2 and queen back. Oh, look at that. Just the simple knight f6 check. And if
Nice.
if Black can't pick up the rook, it's going to be a draw.
Well, although the black king or the white king has to be able to get back to 2.
Is that right? Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, now, yeah, knight f6 check, very nice.
Knight f6, rook f6. You're saying queen h1 check keeps the
maybe king to e5.
Can White put the rook on f4?
Yeah, it's probably you're going to have to take that h pawn, and that'll give the white king time back to e2.
I predict a draw.
Very good. Very well. He has to know that draw with pawn on g3.
Right. And Black has to know how to win it if the pawn moves to g4. White is thinking.
Now this one, yes, it's
There's no way
a little
out.
too late for thinking. It's a 92. The simplest would be rook takes, and rook to.
Rook g6 check would win easily enough.
Yes.
You're 3 pawns up after you take John g3.
Rook e2, queen e2, rook g6.
Oh, that's even worse.
3 pawns and a queen for a rook.
Yeah. Okay. Black is in the driver's seat. Okay. So, rook f4, the obvious move. And then Black's going to play queen h1, king g4, queen takes h6.
That's so tricky.
And then what if White plays king f3? Queen h2 or something like that? Is there a way
Yes.
is there a way to finagle that?
Well, yeah, you don't get the nice solid setup. So if the queen to h2, and then the queen goes to g1, and maybe push that white king around. So
Can the rook oscillate between f4 and h4?
Okay, but say you get if you win the h pawn, get the black queen to g1, the white king on f3. Say you can get your black king to g5, which I think you can. When the rook goes to h4, you'll have a queen f3 check. The king has to go to e3. Then you attack the g pawn with queen to g2 because the white king's been pushed away.
No, wait a minute. So you play with the black king on g5, the white rook on h4, and the white king on f3. What does black do? Queen f1 check?
Queen f1 check.
King e3.
Queen g2.
Ah. Oh, that's brutal.
So you still need something good.
Wow.
Queen h1 check is if you did rook to b6, right, as then maybe king to f5.
What if the king goes back to f1 on the queen check?
I'm sorry, what move you're saying? Rook to f4,
Yeah,
queen h1 check, king to
g4,
queen takes,
then
takes
king back to
takes.
f3. Oh, you play queen h2. I was thinking you play queen h1 check, king back to f2.
And queen h2 check anyway.
Yeah, because of king f1, queen g3. Yeah. Okay.
Sadly, white can't quite get the blockade position.
Amazing.
This looks lost.
In theory.
In theory, yes. 6, king to h5. Okay, so he got the knight b4 check in, but why did he put the pawn on?
So now he's just going to play with the king. But black is going to play c5 and get over there. And as long as black doesn't lose one of the kingside pawns.
I think you can just queen the pawn. Pawn to h. Oh no, pawn to h4, king to e1. So you pawn h4, pawn takes h4, pawn takes e4, king to e1 on the bishop. Yeah, still minute hope.
Yeah.
At least you've stopped the pawn for the moment.
Black followed your plan here, Nick. Devastating. And white must have resigned because the clocks have stopped. So we're left with this game and this game.
Nice game by David Askin. That was really good. Akko really trying to hold on.
All right, so what happens if c5 here?
C5.
I'm trying to give you a chance.
Yeah, that's also, you have to take it. The king takes, knight has to go to c2.
And now I'll take the a6 pawn. Why not?
Take the a6 pawn, and now the knight comes to which square?
I don't see how white can even get anywhere after that.
Yeah.
I mean, black can just slowly push him back. The one chance is to bring the knight over to the king's side, but what's he gonna do? How can white? Yeah, I guess he can bring the knight over to the king's side. Maybe this is actually not the way to play it.
It's a pretty simple win. That's it. It's I mean, pawn takes c5, king takes c5, knight wherever c2, bishop takes a6, knight may go to e1 to try to get to f3.
Yeah.
And maybe bishop b7 just.
Oh, it takes over the diagonal. And then what? White can try to swing to attack that g5 pawn, right? With f. Yeah, somehow, but it shouldn't work.
It just attack the g5 pawn. But it's theoretically, of course, it's lost. But with good play, there's no hope at all for white. But one slip up, as you say, just get that opposite color or wrong color rook pawn position, and bishop and a pawn against nothing. But with a pass pawn way on one side, the A file, and one on the H file, that knight just can't run fast enough.
Right. Well, I mean, the king just has to sit on c3, right? Let's say pawn takes c5, king c5, knight c2, bishop a6, and now you just use your knight over on the king's side to try to... Yeah, it's hopeless. 91 or bishop a6, 91 bishop b7, and then what?
It's
yeah.
Knight d3, but that's no good. First.
I mean, black can push the pawn all the way up to at the very least, black could play h4, push the pawn all the way to h3 or something with the white knight on h2, and then bring the king all the way over there and win that way.
Yes.
Right, so it's just got to be over.
It'll take a real mistake by black.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Askin, and here's... Oh, the rook is far away from the king. Yikes. White's decided to save the h6 pawn. Still, I don't... What do you think, Nick?
No, it's
maybe
maybe it's the better try. The other way was actually lost.
Right. So this way he can try to really, if he could just keep that rook safe somehow. Scary as heck.
Yeah, it's okay. At least it's trickier.
Yeah.
8 minutes for your opponent.
This is a real battle.
Okay, king g5. Ooh, but that just drops the rook.
What about king h3? Trying to go back to g2 and then get the rook to f4.
Yeah, it's trickier. Definitely trickier. It was a try, although king to h3, he should go king to f5.
Okay, Akko is trying some other strategy. But this is he's busted here.
They're trying to get that knight to.
Bishop a6, knight c3, bishop b7.
Yes, that's unfortunate. If you just had another tempo.
How's Abel doing over there in his game?
Erica won.
Erica won?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay,
Life.
that's life. That's life that you lose at chess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
it's
What can
true.
you do?
Well, Abel was welcoming her back from New York.
Yeah, yeah. She's a welcome addition back to the club, that's for sure.
Sorry about that again.
All right, so king h3.
It's very annoying.
King h3 is forced. Only move not to lose the rook.
So White's decided that his knight can deal with the rook pawn on the queen side.
Well,
I don't believe it.
You're desperately trying something. Just hoping.
I mean, king c4 sets up the deadly threat of king b3. And then the knight gets trapped on c1.
Indeed, it does. So,
That looks like it's it. Okay.
yes, if Akko had not played the pawn to a6, it would have been, much harder.
Yeah, he put the pawn on a vulnerable square way back here.
Black king would have had to run way over to the side to a5, giving you time to.
Still would have been a winning position for black.
Yes, but it would have taken some real work then. The knight b4 check right there.
Instead, we have this. Let's take a look quickly. He plays king back to h3.
Hey, he's doing his best. This is fascinating. And you say this is in the under 1800s.
Yeah, this is the top board in the under 1800 section.
Kudos to both players for playing so well.
Yeah, White seems to have found the only square, which is b6, where it can't be won by checks. It's incredible. Don't play g4, although he might play g4 here, Nick.
Oh, don't put the king back on g2, and then you're just about threatening to get your draw position with rook b4. And
It's hard to get the rook back to the right place, though.
yeah, it depends.
Maybe rook goes to the second rank and then comes to f2.
Yes, try that. But don't go g4.
He'll play g4.
He might just want to go forward, try to clean those pawns.
Yeah.
Hope for a mistake. If the pawn could get to g5 and the rook to f6, that's another blockade.
Pawn a5. What was the other blockade?
Well, if the pawn came to white pawn to g5 and rook to f6.
Oh, okay. There you go. That would be, yeah.
Got pawn G5, queen G3 check. Can't go king H4 because of the 8 check picking up the rook on B6. And
All right, this game is getting grimmer and grimmer.
funny how poor that knight looks there.
Yeah.
It's, knights are worth 3 points in general, but that knight, no.
It's in danger of getting run off the board. Epic battle here. Okay, king f5. So rook b2 would bring the rook back. I can still see that there's problems though.
Ooh, you know, how about pawn to H7? Takes H7, B4, got to the pawn position. So if he really knows what he's doing,
Right, he can play it. He can play. He can draw.
on H7's just correct.
He's going to be loath to give up his pawn. Because you know, Nick, he could make a new queen.
Yeah, that doesn't help if you lose your rook. Just square away.
So h7, queen h7, rook b4, intending rook f4, rook h4, and the game is a draw.
Yes. Yes, it's nice that on
The knight and the king are confused as to which direction they should go in. There's really no saving this position.
no.
The last two games of the round.
And this is not a great battle.
I'll be right back, Nick.
So if pawn to h7, how could black possibly try to win? The idea is queen takes h7, rook to b4. There is no decent check, and white rook comes to f4, just the black king out completely, so that fortress position. White queen can't get in behind the black queen can't get in behind the white. That pawn on g3 so close to the background. When Paul gets back, he'll be able to switch the boards and we'll look off his game again. This game is fascinating. On to h7, give a check. Wang it doesn't look like it worked. move on to 7. Anything else for white to do? Checks. So, or would lose up to queen to D2 check, rook to B2 is a try. Well, maybe rook to B2 would also be a draw. Because you're able to get the rook right line, the rook to how much time? 5 minutes, 20 seconds. So this game is down to the wire. I'm afraid even if they get the fortress position, having to move so quickly with just a second left, there can be an error. But this is exactly the right time to sit and think. Ended very well, so either rook b2 or pawn to h7. And Paul Kristen Clemens wanted to see Akko's game again. He was saying to put a king on b2 and try to trade the knight. But
Yeah, the king is on. The king should be staying around the queen side, I guess. But then isn't the black king just coming over, and there just seems to be no way.
yeah, he's on to a3 into 1 or something.
Even if the king was on b2 here, I think there would just be the black king would just go over to the king side.
Maybe you could get the knight to h3. Yeah, somehow you have to run faster than those pieces do.
Yeah, you're right. The king should stay on that side of the board. This can't work.
Oh yes, that oh, no, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah, knight c3 check, king f3. Pass pawns just put. On to a3, then he does a check. Now when they go pawn to a3, knight check, king to d4, knight b4, check. No way out.
There's nothing here.
No miracles here.
King d4 just wins on the spot here, right?
King d4, pawn to a3.
Yeah. You can't prevent the pawn from queening after king d4. I guess knight e3. Then bishop d3.
Yeah, it's a
Hey Paul,
big domination.
you took down the sheets? The result?
Talk to Abel.
Huh? Oh,
Talk to Abel out there.
So, yes, that.
Now black can just win the knight, I guess.
Or
Just about.
knight a2. You can win the knight for that pawn, and an easy win on the other side.
Let's switch over briefly to this game. Oh no. White blundered his rook.
Oh,
Oh, what a shame.
He messed up.
let's see. What happened? What happened?
Oh, he played King G1 instead of King H2.
Oh,
He didn't want to give up the
no.
H6 pawn. Ah, too bad.
Yeah, what's
What an epic battle.
Yeah.
What an epic battle. Okay, so we're left with this game. And the knight is trying to be tricky.
Okay, two, and maybe a draw. Don't fall for that. Gypsy or in that pawn is being.
Yeah, this game is over in a few minutes.
Well, again, some really epic games, really exciting battles.
I think it's people are on the DGT boards and they just realize they're under the spotlight, Nick, and that, you know, we're merciless and we're mean and we're gonna, you know, call it like we see it, and
They feel they have to put on a show.
I
Good.
feel like they have to put on a show.
They're on the stage.
I know I'd be sweating bullets if I was on the GGT boards at the TNM. Every move being scrutinized.
Now that move looks like it queens the pawn, and time has run out for Akko. DC made it to the very last game of the round.
Yeah, it's often the case. Christian Clements. Yeah, no, Christian, we play softball with everybody. Really, you know, I'm fond of pretending to be a bad guy, but
Oh, don't be fooled, Christian. Paul's bad.
the worst thing I do is mispronounce people's names.
Left and up queen.
This has been some just nerve-wracking chess, folks.
Well, there's no knight for that.
Okay, folks,
Queen is a queen.
I think we're done for the evening here. It's been an exciting fourth round here at the Tuesday Night Marathon. I'm FIDE Master Paul Whitehead. You can see that there's still a couple of games going on, maybe just one now. This is only half of the
Playing hall.
playing hall, and the other half,
Black one.
yeah. In the other half, I think the games are all finished. So looks like there's like one game going on maybe over there in the corner.
Yeah, you can see.
But I'm Paul Whitehead with Nick DeFermian and Abel. Why don't you come and say, throw in your 2 cents
My
and
Dos
sign us
Centavos.
off for the
Yeah.
evening?
No,
the
it's,
centavos.
It looked like there's some great end games there.
But the game we want to hear about is the game you lost to that red-haired
yeah,
lady.
yeah. I mean, we just finished 15 minutes ago. It was a long game, sharp game. It was crazy, but yeah, I lost it.
I got a chance to talk to Erica for about 1 minute or less, and she said, I gotta go now because I gotta go beat Abel.
And then 3 hours later,
And then 3 hours later, yeah.
it was actually a great game. I got to show you the position. It was like, you know, I was sort of like on the defense, just hanging on, defending, and then all of a sudden I had a chance, and then you know she added defend, and
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We hope to see you at the
hey Christian,
the Thursday, the Thanksgiving Friday, Saturday, Sunday gobbler
hey,
here.
anybody who can make it, come on down. We're gonna be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get some chess in.
I'll be here Friday to maybe look at some people's games as they finish in the other room.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So, all right, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will see everyone next week.
Always check it might be May.